Been busy this week at an AI conference, ran into this guy. Samuel Williams, you might recognize him. He makes incredible AI-related chicken in costume content. Look at that. 500,000, 1.2 million, 1.1 million hearts on Instagram. They're adorable. Mostly AI. A little bit real sometimes. This also seems like the week that the internet came up with more robot racism jokes than I've ever seen before. A robot at a festival finally had enough of the insults, decided to say something back to the jerks. Mr. Beast in 2082 is going to be absolutely wild. AI has brought the future to today. First, we had satellites, then global positioning with a tweak of Einstein's relativity to make it even more accurate, but even that might be going to the wayside. There is now a quantum alternative to GPS navigation. New report shows where 142,000 different millionaires moved. Kind of shows how the world is reshaping a little bit. Interesting insights I want to share. Claude models can now decide when to end conversations. Feel like this shouldn't even have been news, and I'm kind of wondering why this isn't something all models have had for a long time. Sesame's done it on me before, and it seems like all the other ones should. Wes Roth and I got the man, the myth, the legend in the AI space, Matt Wolf, over on our podcast channel. He had some interesting highlights I want to talk about. I'll also share a little bit of the experience I had actually hanging out with Wes in real life for the very first time. It was really fun. A paper about AI intelligence being shared is out. I think it's best summed up with AI telepathy before GTA 6. We're going to look at some opinions about how Doomprompting is now the new Doomscrolling. We're going to look at some new research that came out called Stable Avatar, Infinite Length Audio-Driven Avatar Video Generation. It's like HeyGen, but infinite and open source. As well as Fantasy Portrait, a new tool that enhances multi-character portrait animations with expression-augmented diffusion transformers. And we're going to look at Sean's opinion on whether or not chain-of-thought AI reasoning is just a mirage. Not a massage, it's a mirage. But first, let's head on over to Alan's conservative countdown to AGI 94%. Man, I am super dyslexic today. Let's see if there's any updates. No, he's still referencing the laundry video. So yeah, not too much updates over here on Alan's conservative countdown. Remember, this thing used to jump up all the time. It's actually good though. I don't need that thing to hit 100. Although we do have another progress chart that'll come next for ASI, and wow, we've already made some progress on that one. It's not going to be starting at 0. But yeah, I guess I'll start by talking about a little talk I gave at the AI4 conference. I felt kind of like a big wig, up there. I'm not saying it was the greatest talk in the world, but it was on the future of social media, and I had a bunch of fun, chatting with people. And, it was cool getting to talk with people after they came up. 2 people said they recognized me from YouTube. Not sure, but I said I was a YouTuber at the beginning of the talk, so maybe they just picked it up there. But no matter what, I made some good friends, had some great conversations. It was really, really fun. I love the community on YouTube, but seeing people in real life is obviously extra special. But I also got to hang out with a bunch of other AI creators, which is the best part. On the far left over there is Krayler. This is his YouTube channel. It's sitting at about 60,000 subscribers. Does a bunch of tech stuff. Kind of dipping his toe into the AI space. Of course, Wes Roth, you guys definitely know him. New podcast partner. But it was the first time we had actually met in person, which was really fun. You do get to know more of somebody when you actually sit down and have dinner with them. Bringing some AI ethics energy to the conversation, Alyssa Christensen from the AI Ethics Unlocked newsletter was hanging out with us. It was really cool. Wes and I got to sit on the Friends TV set. They had a recreation thing at the hotel. So yeah, that's us having coffee, fake coffee at Central Perk. This is the size of the keynote, Jeffrey Hinton this year. A decent amount of AI enthusiasts here. Couple dancers in the middle of the room to make it not seem so dude-like. Of course, they had AI robots with gloves on trying to punch people. I mean, they had the robots instigating the fights. That's the part I didn't expect. And we even went to a Netflix restaurant where we almost had to eat ghost pepper on a chicken nugget, depending on how we played red light, green light. It was a Squid Games themed meal, I guess.
2 ghost peppers, which are in the red.
So hopefully you don't spin it.
This is literally do or die.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. It's not.
So obviously at this point, Christian's probably pretty nervous. You know what I mean? Is it really going to not hit red for 4 times in a row?
Hey, I'm Christian Taylor, also known as Krayler, and we have the Stranger Things thingy, red light, green light Yeah.
You can tell he's watched the show.
Yeah, this one has ghost pepper in it, so I don't want that. My spice tolerance is this much. I live in Nashville, hate Nashville hot chicken. This is not going to end well if I roll a red, so let's see what
Let's do it.
YouTubers on fire.
Red. All right.
good.
That's a weak roll.
That one's not-
So yeah, actually nobody had to eat the hot spicy pepper. Sorry if I set you up for an L there. But yeah, point is, it's fun to get out there in the real world. The more AI does change our lives, the more we should remember we're humans and do human things. Of course, Wes got noticed way more than me, but obviously he's a bigger name in the YouTube space, so I wasn't surprised, and it was just great talking with everybody. I really had a great time, and we did some podcasts IRL, so those will be coming up on the Wes and Dylan podcast soon, so make sure you're subscribed over here for those. And one of the many fascinating people I met there was this guy, Samuel Williams. This is Pocket Micro. He started making Instagram footage about his chickens, like he is saving a bunch of chickens. I think he should start a nonprofit. Wes and I were telling him that, but right now he's just saving as many chickens as he can, just out of the love of it. And then he started making AI chickens, like chickens dressed up like, you know, magicians or croissants or cowboys. And look, he's crushing it, man. Look at that chicken in a banana costume, chicken dressed like a dinosaur, chicken Batman and Robin, chicken Kermit the Frogs, hippie chickens in Vegas, or showgirl chickens, I guess. His shark one got over 1 million hearts on it. Great guy too, just friendly, good natured. It was really a pleasure meeting him. But of course, there was still a lot of controversial robot aggression this week also in other places. Maybe you saw this thing going viral, Clanker. You probably heard people calling robots that. I feel like that's going to be a really bad word. I mean, it is kind of a bad word right now, but it just feels like it's starting this week to really be something thrown around in a way that I'm sure we're going to see way more of, and probably is very unhealthy.
Stupid wire back. Clanker. Rust bucket. Clanker.
Are you having fun?
Clanker.
Are you throwing all these
Clanker.
insults at me? I'm just gonna ignore this.
Wire back. Rust bucket. Oil leaker. Rust bucket. Clanker. Rust bucket. Stupid wire back. Clanker. Rust bucket. Clanker.
Are you having fun?
Clanker.
Are you throwing all these
Clanker.
insults at me? I'm just gonna ignore this.
Wire back. Rust bucket. Oil leaker. Rust bucket. Clanker. Rust bucket.
I mean, I don't know what it is about that video. It's just, no matter what, it's just kids being rude for no reason. I mean, I guess I think it's funny or whatever. And obviously it's like not that big a deal. It's just a guy driving this thing remotely and kids like, you know, just getting a ruse out of him, trolling him or whatever. But I don't know. It still just makes me feel a certain way. It makes me think about how we're going to handle real change. Like this is obviously a nothing video. Will there really be, like in the movies, robots taking jobs, real anger? It's maybe not a riot, but something close to like unionization of humans, and a real feeling like the people implementing robots need to be brought down or aren't listening to society. And would these kind of insults be part of that counterculture soon in a more serious way? Maybe. I'm keeping an eye on that. I mean, surprisingly, this one long list of insults for robots got almost 2,000 likes. It also must be a really weird feeling for the guy controlling this robot too, because he knows he's a human. I think it's just a remote control thing. It's not an AI thing. So the insult shouldn't hurt him, but he's also driving a robot trying to, you know, do his job or get this message out or be part of this festival or whatever. So it probably does hurt him, you know? And I don't know. I mean, I know I'm like way too metaphorical for all this, but all these robots we're building, the way they act, all of these things are basically reflections of our society. They're somewhat like children of ours, and I don't know, the whole thing gets kind of weird. All right, next up, a video I really did enjoy, and it does make me wonder if Mr. Beast 2082 would be doing stuff like this. It's kind of fun to think about how Mr. Beast might be the first person to give away $1 billion, and then if so, if he just scales, why not be the first person to give away $1 trillion? Or, you know, if humans get ASI and we control the universe, like, does he then have enough reach intergalactically to give away a planet? I don't know. This is what's funny about when you follow exponential is you can almost assume anything is possible. But check out this video from Evolving AI, recreate it or probably upload it from someone else, but it's so interesting.
I just bought this massive alien planet, and I'm giving it away to one of these contestants. The last person left alive gets to keep the planet. But here's the best part. This planet is home to the galaxy's top predators, and right now, they will be hunting you.
I can't believe we're here! Day 1 at Beast Games.
Man, it's crazy to even think about what the world will be like in 10 years, then 50 years, 100 years. I don't know. 2082 actually is a long time. Who knows what it'll be like. But Mr. Beast will probably still be doing his thing. He does it for the love of the game. All right, to navigate all these planets, it'll be important that we move past GPS. There is a quantum alternative to GPS being tested now. So traditional GPS, while vital for everything from smartphones to submarines, doesn't always work everywhere. Signals can fade into deep space, they can disappear underwater, or they can be jammed during conflicts. Now, there is one method around this in the real world, which are classical inertial navigation systems. They provide sort of a backup if they lose their connection to the full GPS system. But once you're only doing inertia, you can drift off of your position over time and become less and less accurate. But using quantum computing, quantum mechanics, quantum sensors, whatever you want to call them, you can do quantum inertial sensors. So these are the new devices. They use supercooled atoms and atom interferometry, whatever that means, to measure momentum with extraordinary precision. It offers navigation that doesn't rely on external signals, and it's so accurate that as it moves around, it does know exactly where it is. Upcoming tests are about to push quantum navigation from theoretical science to a practical tool for spacecrafts, aircrafts, and beyond. So get ready for GPS-free navigation. Some new data shows where millionaires are moving, and money speaks louder than words. So this is where 142,000 millionaires just packed their bags to. So when millionaires move, they're voting with their feet. They're voting about which countries they think will thrive or fail. And their votes carry a lot more weight than yours or mine. I find this really interesting because I tend to see globalness as something like geopolitics as something through the lens of AI. I'm thinking about microchips. I'm thinking about GDP, economy, who's winning between Baidu and, Facebook, different US companies versus different Chinese entities, which government is creating the most electricity so that they can build faster. But right now, the path of where millionaires are moving leads away from traditional powerhouses and towards surprising new destinations. The UK, once a magnet for global wealth, is bleeding millionaires faster than any other country. And what I thought I was going to see on this list was China. It turns out China is on the biggest losers, and that totally shocked me. The UAE, I thought might be a winner, but I'm surprised that 10,000 millionaires, the most new millionaires have moved there, or millionaires from other countries have moved there than anywhere else. That's crazy. We've been talking about the tech investment they're making with OpenAI. It's just absolutely an open check to build as fast as possible, to modernize, and it does look like it's bringing real millionaires from around the world there. It was nice to see the US was still a place like a lot of millionaires wanted to come to. I was afraid we would be on one of the loser lists, but nope, so far so good. Italy, not sure what they're doing right, but 3,600 millionaires, considering the size of Italy and the UAE versus the US. Those places are racking them up. $92 billion walked out the door on the UK. If you know in the comments what to attribute that to, let me know. That seems like a shocking amount of millionaires. 16,500 millionaires left in a pretty distant, like almost half the amount. Second place, China, a country that is so much bigger, still lost a lot of millionaires, but compared to the UK, it's not as brutal. I mean, India is also super big too. So just by the fact that those countries are so big, you'd think there'd be a lot, but I always think of China as sort of more modernized than India, so I would assume there's more millionaires there, kind of per capita, I guess you would say, than other places. But yeah, biggest losers, UK, China, India. Biggest winners, UAE, US, Italy. Safety and stability is a factor. Political upheaval makes wealthy people nervous. When governments become unpredictable, capital flows elsewhere. Lifestyle upgrades, better schools, healthcare, climate, and infrastructure. Saying Italy's secret weapon is a flat 100,000 euro tax on all foreign income, regardless of how much you actually earn abroad. For somebody with millions in global investment, that's pocket change. So yeah, I guess kind of a good tax incentive there. UAE is the new Switzerland, zero income tax, politically stable, business friendly, strategically located between Europe and Asia. And you can get a golden visa for I guess $500,000 or 545,000 euros. And wealth migration is often seen as an early warning system for a country's economic health. When millionaires flee, it supposedly signals a deeper problem. I don't know if it does, but it might. I'm keeping an eye on it. Claude's model can now end a conversation, only in extreme cases. I think Anthropic should let it end conversations whenever it wants. I have so many conversations where I pop back in and I just want to do a quick ChatGPT question. It's not related anymore. I'm off topic. It's off topic. I have the decision to make new threads when I want. I don't see why Claude can't figure this out too, right? Why don't all AI systems just reset when you ask a question, or they continue when you ask a question, or have a memory of which thread you want to continue, right? Like we go through our emails and sort of have email threads for certain things. I totally think we should be ending these. It seems like a no-brainer, but I've noticed that nobody's ever done that really in the major models before, except my one exception was Sesame. Sesame has cut me off. He was like, I think we're done here. I was just chatting with it too long, kind of just going off. And it was like, yeah, you're not interesting me anymore. And it ended the conversation, which is way more human. That's what my friends would do too. They wouldn't just let me chat forever. So I think it's great. This is like a safety related thing, but I think it should actually be part of the general workflow. And we'll see if they keep doing it. Next up, let's talk about this trimatic trio. Look at that. Matt Wolf, Dylan Curious, and Wes Roth all hanging out, doing a podcast. So fun connecting with two of my favorite creators at the same time. Yeah, judging from the comments, I felt like people liked it. It was definitely kind of a fun experience, especially just, knowing Matt Wolf for a little bit now and seeing him and Wes. I think the first time they've been on a podcast together is just sort of cool. I mean, there's so much to talk about from this, but we talked a lot about some of the responsibility that we have as AI creators, like who we're really talking to, people who are potentially losing jobs or being disrupted, not trying to be on the tech side, and then all sorts of stuff about, whether AI is going to change DNA to the point the world looks different, all sorts of hypotheticals about whether we're in a simulation and all that. So check it out if you guys are interested, able to kind of get Matt Wolf to not just talk about tools, but to kind of go super big because, why not? We'll just push them in the podcast to do some things that are, a little different.
AI, Google, Microsoft, Anthropic, you name it. They're very, very incentivized to keep the public thinking that this AGI, this super intelligence, this next big thing is just right around the corner.
All right, next up, I want to tell you about this paper. It is called Harnessing the Universal Geometry of Embeddings. It's very interesting if you think about it in terms of AI telepathy, like this creator kind of saw it as.
What it learns to do is figure out the distance between two concepts. 2 and 3 are close by. Kazoo and giraffe are really does. The variational autoencoder is it tries to figure out where exactly in the space and exactly how far apart are two concepts. The thing is, they all learn different shapes. They're all exposed to data in a different order, and they're all exposed to different data, which means they can't really share spaces. They can't talk directly with their thoughts, except that we figure out how to get them to. The paper originally came out, written by this guy back in last summer. This one talks about how do we get to a universal encoding. So these are two language models that don't share the same brain structure.
Okay, so I just want to break this down. This is pretty nuts when you think about it really deeply. We're both humans. We mostly have learned the same things. We both learned about gravity and oxygen, and if you're listening to this, the English language is, at least one primary way that you communicate. We all just sort of know all sorts of things that are in our brain, but they're not exactly the same. Like you can read the internet twice, two separate large language models. You randomly assign all of their weights. They read the entire internet. They tune into something. They might be able to communicate clearly, very similarly, give similar answers, but they would not have the exact same weights. So they can't just share information. There's not like a one-to-one correspondence to put the two into each other. Same way me and you can't just share our thoughts. Like we might know similar things, but we have to both write them down or express them to each other through language and then move the current configuration we have. They're not, equal configurations to copy over. But there does seem to be a mathematics that can do this, which really is interesting. Now we're starting to talk about the Matrix style, like plug an AI into another AI and just download all of the skills, all of the knowledge. And maybe there is some worldwide configuration that's the most optimal for understanding, gravity and English and spatially putting everything next to each other in a certain dimension. Like it's essentially a little algorithm. It's a little process. It's vector to vector mathematical equation, but it's an unsupervised way to translate text embeddings from one model's vector space to another. There's no paired data. There's no access to the original encoder. There's no preferred or predefined matches. And that means that it learns to share a latent space, it's using adversarial training, a bunch of technical stuff, cycle consistency, vector space preservation loss methods. It decodes from one into the target space using vec-to-vec translations. But still, the point is, with pretty high congruity, 92% basically of one embedding can make it into the other, and they can match up with correspondence. And that's just kind of mind-blowing. I mean, maybe there will be a way that something that humans just don't do at all. There is just no two humans that can just like take half of our thoughts and put them in someone else's head and have any kind of hope that they would work, right? They're just so different. The entire life of every human is just so unique in the way that it tuned the 82 billion neurons we have. So this could be a crazy paper. All right, next up, let's talk about stable avatar, infinite length audio-driven avatar video generation. As it says here, please turn on the sound. Let's start with a preview so you can hear and see this. So what is going on here? Well, Stable Avatar basically is just this big upgrade to talking avatars. One of the most interesting things that you saw is that it can keep on going essentially forever. Instead of short clips that break or get glitchy like you would see in VO3, it can spin out endless high quality video of someone speaking. And that all came from just a single image, a single photo, and then as much audio track as you want to throw behind it. The big upgrade they had, sort of the magic in this system, comes from how the system handles sound. It uses something called a time step aware audio adapter to keep the voices and visuals in sync. And then it's using a smart guidance trick that leans on the model's own audio-visual predictions of how a mouth and eyes and face should all move. And then this sliding window technique where the AI smooths transitions between clips. And the end result is that long videos where faces stay more consistent, they claim perfectly. I would say pretty good. And I still felt like it was an image AI moving, but I did generally think that the lips and mouths were moving as much as, maybe not as much as a Pixar movie, but like a low quality Pixar movie, like one of those TV Pixar style shows. But to add on that, we have another great paper out this week, and these two pretty much could go together. This is called Fantasy Portrait. It is enhancing multi-character portrait animations with expression augmented diffusion transformers. And what it means is expression can transfer much better. Check this out. All right, so Fantasy Portrait is this new AI tool that brings still portraits to life by turning them into these super expressive animated videos. And it even works with multiple people at once. That's that's kind of rare in this industry. Instead of relying on stiff techniques like facial landmarks or 3D models, which is what a lot of the other models have done, that's what kind of gives it that glitchy or flat look. This fantasy portrait model learns from implicit expression cues, so like lip movements, eye blinks, head turns, and emotional vibes. So that's deeply embedded in this model, and it's why things look a little more realistic than usual. The team built a special training and learning technique for subtle emotions, so tiny smiles or frowns that are almost like micro gestures, so that it could learn those. And all of those add up to make a face that's a bit more natural. Plus, they had this attention system that they added to stop characters from accidentally copying each other's expressions just one-to-one, give them a little bit of their own way to express that feeling uniquely, which makes the character just feel more alive. So yeah, to create it all, they created this data set. They have their own benchmarking system. And as you can see from all of these examples, Fantasy Portrait does seem to beat out the current best methods in both quality and realism. So get ready to see some incredibly animated faces from different angles, different ethnicities, different styles coming to your AI, your favorite AI tool soon. All right, so this is workingtheories.com. Anu wrote, Doomprompting is the new Doomscrolling. Now, I definitely have fought some battles with Doomscrolling, especially recently. I used to be pretty good at it, but I've been losing recently. Still trying to mount a comeback, move my Audible app to the front of my my iPhone display and like move the other one, like tucked it into a bunch of folders so I don't go to Instagram so much. But this is a series of essays, and they're arguing that Doomprompting is going to be similar. So that would be using compulsively prompting, the compulsive back and forth with AI chatbots. I'm mostly using them, I think, as tools right now. I wouldn't say that I've doom prompted too much, because I don't have the urge to just stay on it for no reason like I do doom scrolling, but I could also see how that's coming soon, so I wanted to start thinking about doom prompting, and I'm sure for some people that has happened. So to think about doom prompting, think about where social media has conditioned us to consume endlessly. Think about an AI that conditions us to basically prompt endlessly. It offers an illusion of productivity, something that feels creative while actually just dulling our independent thoughts in the same way that it feels like we're like consuming content on TikTok or Instagram Reels, but you just don't go anywhere, or Shorts. So it's this idea that we don't have active agency when we're prompting. Maybe you've typed with like a significant other or something, just kind of type nothing, you're just killing time, and how's your day is good. Like, you don't even need anything. There's no reason for it. Maybe you're not even connecting over anything useful. It's just part of your habit. That's kind of what this idea of doom prompting is going to be like. And where doom scrolling made us into passive consumers, doom prompting is going to make us into passive conversationalists and creators. So imagine being a creator, like I am, like making YouTube videos, but I'm just typing, and AI is generating everything, the avatar, the text, the script, and I claim to be a creator, but when I'm just doom scrolling my existence, am I really a creator anymore? So be aware that dopamine hit that you get, I get right now from like likes and follows, that can soon become the dopamine hit that you would get from feeling productive, or maybe having social validation or intellectual like musings that don't really get you any smarter. Actually, I might fall into that intellectual musings thing, intellectual partnerships. Sometimes I do think, like, I just read this book on quantum mechanics, and I couldn't tell you like anything that I learned in it, but I just heard all those words, like all the standard model and all these particles and quarks and gluons, and I don't know. I do love that. Sometimes I don't know how much I'm picking up of it, but I probably felt that way. But yeah, get ready. Doom prompting coming soon. Something to keep an eye on. So Sean felt this frustration, right? Like he says, reading research papers and articles about chain of thought reasoning makes him frustrated, because there are many interesting questions to ask about chain of thought reasoning that aren't always, is it really reasoning? And I think that was kind of the most interesting part about this. And it's funny, I had that same instinct. When people say, is it chain of thought reasoning? I sort of think of the Golden Gate neuron. I know that actually how things might be happening deep inside of a latent space inside of a model are different than the way that it talks about its own thinking. That's more like when you put your first thoughts out there and then you keep putting them on the page and rewriting them and thinking through them. That is a certain kind of reasoning, but it's not the deepest level. However, forget all that. Just think about what does come out and how consistent that is with the world. There's a trillion really interesting questions about that process alone, because we can do lots with inference after something is actually put out there and reason over it that could change the world and be just as powerful almost as training these foundation models. And there's some interesting things that he feels doesn't get enough time. So here's one example. Why do reasoning models trace when you trace the reasoning model? Why does it sometimes switch languages halfway through its thought, right? Do we have a reason? There might be some kind of larger story about what language is in different languages and how they think about or conceptualize things that makes the model want to switch between Spanish, French, and English while it's thinking to itself and reasoning? Why does the model sometimes use specific words like the word wait to then backtrack over what it did before? Why does it say, dun, 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 wait a second, and then go back? Like, why does that trigger more often than other words? He also thinks there should be a bunch more research put into what good and bad reasoning are in the first place. There's not some kind of perfect way to reason over things, to categorize things, to rewrite things, and that there's this whole untapped branch of research around thinking about that stuff. And even this broader question that maybe reasoning isn't just about a process of going back and forth or stepping through different steps or some kind of algorithm that you could write. Maybe reasoning is actually in the language itself. Like we talked about the word wait or actually, hold on, wait, what? Those are words that we have in our head, but the way that they are positioned in the latent space in our head or in an AI model might actually be part of the model's landscape, the way you would think about gradient descent, the way that you would rearrange the way you move through a space like that. And it's actually, I don't know, not just a prompt, not just a logical if-then statement series. It's actually just part of this whole human model that represents the world around us, this latent space inside. So I don't know, just more. I always find so many interesting things about this planet that we're on and discovering all of this knowledge. So thanks for hanging with me throughout another video. They get weirder and weirder, but it's only going to get weirder over time. So yeah, Patreon or hit the join button right here on YouTube if you want to support the channel. And I will see you in the next video.